start recording the class because there's a lot of missing people here. I don't know why. Christian, he just arrived. Christian. So let's begin the class. I'm gonna share the screen. Now, just for you to know, guys, right now we are working with the two platforms. We're working with Neo, and we're working already with the ESAI system. Remember, in the ESAI system, like you used to have all your planning for next week, you are receiving all the information, and according to what I wrote in that platform, you need to complete the vocabulary and the assessment questions that is assigned in that document, okay? Let me show you. Anyway, the document, remember you don't have a document, so that's why I had to load up. In the platform, I need to load up the, yes, this is it. I need to load up the document that you are going to use in order to complete the vocabulary and also the assessment questions. It's over here. This is the PowerPoint class. PowerPoint. Oh my God, I opened it by accident. This is the PowerPoint document that I'm gonna use in order for you to explain this chapter. And this is the PDF document. Okay, so everything is already in Neo. So you have to download it and then work with those documents. Okay, guys. So you have everything handy. Now let's go back to this to our PowerPoint presentation. Then at the end, I'll talk about the forum that you have for next week. Okay, now let's begin the class now. Today we're going to talk about, last week we spoke about the three different economic systems, the traditional, the command, and the market system. And we talked, at the end, we talked about the traditional system. Now today we're going to talk about the command systems, command economy systems, and then next week we are going to talk on the second class. We want to talk about the market economy system. Okay. Now over here are the objective of the class. Describe the main feature of the command economy. Note how socialism and communism differ. They are not the same. Identify modern example of command economy and explain the advantages and disadvantages of command economy. Now this is the vocabulary number 2. I think it's number 2, vocabulary number 2, according to our class. So you have to write this in your notebook. Remember, the title is Command Economy, underline it, and then this is the vocabulary number 2, Central Plan Economy. That is the same as Command Economy, Socialism, Communism, Authoritarian. Now let's begin. Now, as I said, the command system economy is the one that the government is the one who decides what's to be produced, how to be produced, and for whom is going to be produced. Now, command economists later decide what should be produced and how it should be produced, and they also decide for whom it should be produced, in part by setting wages. The determining who earns the highest, by determining who earns the highest wage, salario, and who the lowest wage. These leaders decide who has the money to buy available products. A system in which the society's leaders, usually members of the central government, of course, they are in power, make all economic decisions is called centrally planned economy. It's the same as command economy, what they used to call centrally planned economy. Now examples. Now we're gonna bring some examples and try to understand what's the difference or how it works. Now, what if the government went further? ¿Qué tal si el gobierno fuese más allá y ese más allá de lo que tiene que hacer? Okay. Now suppose the bureaucrats in government official in Washington, D.C. had the power to decide which businesses could open in your city. So can you imagine that? Further, these bureaucrats decided not only what these businesses should produce, but also how much each business should produce each month. So they control everything. So that's a command economy. Finally, they also decide who could have jobs and set work hours. They organize how many hours you're going to work. Oh my God. Work and pay scale of workers. O sea que una escala salarial para los trabajadores. Government controls of this type are feature of command or centrally planned economy. Now over here there is a chart that talks the difference between the market economy and the command economy. Now next week we're going to talk about the market economy. Today we're talking about regarding this command economy. Now over here, example of command economy over here, Soviet Union, China until 1970s. Not anymore. Okay, they are not communism anymore. It looks like, but it is a mix. Okay, it's a mix. It's not pure command economy. And Cuba, and also if we go to Venezuela or maybe Nicaragua, they follow the same type of union and Cuba. The owner, who's the owner of everything? The industry owns and managed by the government. The governments control everything. They control the prices and everything. The government may provide more equitable distribution of resources. It's an efficiency, bureaucrat shortage, surplus, and less choice and less freedom. That's the difference between command and market economy. Now, over here, I try to explain what is the difference between socialism and communism, even though both come from the same ideal of Karl Marx. Del autor, el padre del comunismo, Karl Marx. But everything starts with socialism, and then this socialism turns into communism. Now, Karl Marx, in the 19th century, German philosopher, historian, and economist. According to Marx, analysis of all history is struggle between classes. En la historia siempre hay una lucha de clases, según él. Y eso es así, en efecto, siempre ha sido una lucha de clases entre el rey y el pueblo, o entre la iglesia y el pueblo. Siempre ha sido así, ¿ves? Vamos a ver. In his own time, the struggle was between the owner of the great industry factories and the workers who exchanged their labor for wages. Siempre ha sido así. Acuérdense que en aquella época era la revolución industrial, Industrial Revolution. Entonces ahí existía mucha, la producción, todo era de producción, pero los dueños de las grandes empresas, ellos explotaban al empleado. O sea, antes no se trabajaba solamente 8 horas, antes se trabajaba 10, 12, 14, 16 horas. Y trabajan los niños, las mujeres, todo el mundo trabaja. ¿Para qué? Para recibir un salario miserable, miserable salary. Y ese era pues explotar los dueños de las grandes fábricas explotaban al pueblo. Y ahí fue que nació entonces esta ideología. Ya estaban cansados de eso. Marx predicted that in time the worker would overthrow, que tumbaría his system and transfer ownership to the factories to the public hand. Iba a pasar la factoría al pueblo y el pueblo iba a administrar esas industrias. With the means of production owned by the government. O sea que el gobierno, un grupo de personas, se iba a encargar de esto. The class struggle would be resolved. Entonces ya no existiría esta diferencia de clases. All citizens would share in the wealth. Todo el público, todas las clases van a beneficiarse de las riquezas. Okay? Este era el pensamiento de Karl Marx. Over here, there's a chart almost the same comparing the three, the communism, socialism, and marketing. Now let's focus on this one. Who owns resources? In communism, the government. In socialism, government owns basic resources, only the basic resources, and the rest are privately owned. Now, this is basically the difference between socialism and communism. Now, socialism is a stronger way of, the communism is a stronger system than the socialism, okay? This is like a pure socialism, but it's not, okay? It's a communism. Now, over here in the socialism, you can share it with the private sector. Now, over here in the government, no, everything belongs to in the communism, everything belongs to the government. That's basically the difference between communism and socialism. And also we will see it in the video. Socialism, communism, socialism, an economic system in which the government owns some or all of the factors of production, developed from the idea of Marx, the father of the communism. Now, communism, more extreme form of socialism, es una manera más extrema del socialismo. Eso es lo que es el comunismo. In which there is no private ownership of property. No hay propiedad propia. No hay propiedad privada. And little, or no political freedom. Y no hay libertad de política. Okay? No va a haber elecciones, nada de eso. All grew out of Marx thinking. Todo nació del pensamiento de Marx. Essentially, in its authoritarian socialism. Essentially, it is an authoritarian socialism. En esencia dice que es un socialismo autoritario. El comunismo es un socialismo autoritario. An authoritarian system requires absolute obedience to authorities. The figure 2.1 lists the major characteristics of socialism and communism that is over here in this chart. Okay, now let's stop right here. We'll finish this this PowerPoint tomorrow, or maybe on Friday. I think yes, on Friday. I wanna play a couple of videos that talks about the difference between the socialism and communism. Okay, guys, let's watch the socialism first.
Socialism is an economic system that focuses on wealth distribution. It does have some aspects of a market economy, and it also has some of a command economy. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, click on the cards above. They'll show you those videos where I go into a market and a command economy. But socialism, the goal of it is to have wealth distribution. There'll be still some rich and there'll be some poor, but their goal is to have more people in the middle. Now, to do this, the government plays a role in the economy. This is different than capitalism, especially true capitalism. The government is involved here. And normally how the government distributes wealth is through taxes and then the redistribution of those taxes. And this could take shape in a variety of ways. Maybe in an income tax, it could be also a sales tax, it could be property taxes. All these different taxes would be used to be able to create then a distribution where money can be spread out throughout the people. A lot of times what occurs is the wealthier get taxed at a higher rate, while the people who have less get taxed at a lower rate. Now, this is one of the controversial things with socialism. Some people say that you shouldn't just tax the wealthy because they have done well in society. Others, though, point out that, well, maybe the wealthy have benefited more from society and they should give back to society. And then again, there's a counter argument saying, well, they could donate to charity and let them make their own decisions. And you shouldn't just punish people. And we could go back and forth on these things all day. And in class, I am sure we will be debating this. But socialism, the big focus of it is wealth distribution. If you remember anything from socialism, remember it's all about bridging the gap. You still will have some people who are wealthy and some people who are poor, but the goal is to have more people in the middle. Now, this can be a big advantage for a lot of people as there are safety nets and people will have protection. If you fail, the government's there to help you get back on your feet. On the other hand, though, too, the disadvantage, like we've already brought up, is that it could stifle innovation and creativity. The reason being that the government will step in when you become more successful and maybe take away more of your money. So hopefully you understand exactly what socialism is, how it impacts people in a society, and how it's even different than capitalism, the one that I've already referenced. Make sure.
Okay, now let's watch the communism. Now, as you see in the socialism, it's like a mix of market economy and command economy, but it focuses more on command, okay? But there are some of the market economy. Now in this command, there's no mix. There's only command, as only the government is the one who decides what to do. You'll see it. These connections.
Hello there, good people of YouTube. Welcome to the Mr. Sin channel. Today we're going to be talking about communism. We'll see what communism is, why some people like it, and why some people don't. So let's figure out what's going on in the world of communism. Communism's goal is to create a classless society. Now, communism's been practiced throughout history and even today in a variety of ways, but true communism tries to get as close as possible to a classless society. If you're going to remember anything about communism, remember classless society. When Karl Marx created communism, he had this idea of capitalism being evil. He thought that capitalism would just drive revolution in society, that eventually people would get so upset with all of the losers and the few winners, and it would rise up and eventually take over the government and the businesses and the bourgeoisie. Now, Karl Marx thought this would lead to socialism, where we would see the bridged gap between the different classes, and then eventually another kind of revolution, and we would get to communism. Marx believed that for communism to work, we had to have a big government, at least at the start. The government would come in and collect all the resources, the means of production, and then distribute them evenly. Over time, then, the government's role would continuously shrink. As people became equal, there would no longer be this constant fighting over scarce resources. And when everyone had the same amount, there would be no more an incentive to continuously outdo people. And so then by having everyone be the same, we would have order, and the government would no longer be needed. And so in true communism, the government then would continue to shrink until eventually they go away. Because if the government stays, that is a class in its own, and then people in the government would be above others, and that would defeat the purpose of a classless society. Communism's great on paper. It sounds really good. Unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of examples, at least on the large scale throughout history, of communism working. Normally what starts to happen is communism will be put in place, and then a dictator or a big government will take over, and they don't relinquish their power. That's kind of the human error. So the same with communism is great on paper, but bad in practice, partially because of human error. Now, in smaller societies, we've seen communism work. Just again, though, on the large scale, it doesn't work that much. People give up too much individual freedom, and corruption normally comes in. Hopefully you can understand exactly what communism is, how it's supposed to happen, and why it just doesn't necessarily work. I'm Mr. Sin. Thank you for joining us today to learn about communism.
Okay, that's it, what I got for today, and then we'll continue next Friday, guys.